Good morning. I'm getting my gardening done pretty early this morning. Of course, I'm going to do some more gardening this afternoon, but getting my video done really early this morning. I'm finding that the trickiest part of this whole adventure is the video part. I end up not thinking about the video till the end of the day when it's dark, and it's just hard to get those anyways. But I figured today I'd go ahead and kick off. I am harvesting basil, a bunch of basil. I haven't barely even gotten started. I've got a bunch of basil that is ready, sweet basil that's ready to go. I am partnering with a local Italian food, small family trattoria, friends of mine that own an Italian restaurant at a short drive from my house. And they've committed to doing weekly farm-to-table dinners, specials, and that's going really well. And so then after a few conferences that I participated in, I decided that one of the things that I needed to do was more educational outreach about what this whole farmers market, local food movement is really all about. And so today I'll be talking about what is a farmers market, what does that mean, how should a farmers market, what are general guidelines that most farmers markets should run themselves by, and what is it about our farmers market that keeps its legitimacy, and how do we as a society that desires to have more direct to consumer marketing available for us, and direct to consumer marketing is basically the person that produced the food sells it directly to you, the consumer. And then that way you can look in the eyes of the person that's producing the food and know what were their production methods, what were their processing methods, what were their what kind of facility are they making this in? Are they inviting you to their farm? Are they inviting you to their garden? Are they inviting you to their kitchen? It just gives you more control as a consumer. That's really valuable to me. And I think in this society that we are in right now, and the way that we are what we've created over the last 50 to 100 years is we move so heavily into the industrial era. We move so heavily into mechanization that we have lost the life and the biology aspect of who we are as a society, which means that we are creating illness on our planet, which is a living being. We are creating illness in our water, which is a body of living beings. In our air, which is a body of living beings, and then of course our own body. These are not machines, and they will never run like machines, no matter how much we try to control them and force them to do so. And so there's there'll be a lot of talk as we move through the future with fundamental shift that's ultimately a requirement, certainly as we begin to have a lot of scientific facts that tell us there's no arguing it at this point. We've created health crisis for our planet and for ourselves, and the biggest competition to that isn't that people don't understand it, and that they don't get what we're trying to say. There are actually, I believe, two biggest competitions for getting back to small farms and local food producers and small businesses and local economy, that kind of thing. There are two biggest challenges. The first biggest challenge is that we live in a society that is currently built for convenience and affordable is a polite way of saying cheap, really. Affordable is not even reasonable these days. Just cheap and convenient is all I want. And so that's the biggest competition. And then that questions our values and priorities about, is cheap and convenient food the way to go in life, especially when we are taking time to spend money on expensive coffee from a drive-through coffee chain, that kind of thing. The second thing is that, and I believe that this started back when even I was a child, when the recycling era became the first era of conversation, and that is almost that we were taught that we as one individual had very little power, and so it didn't really make any difference if we chose not to recycle our bottles or plastic bottles or whatever, because there was so much concern about the forward movement that one person wasn't going to make a difference. And that's this industry is about the idea that we have a sphere of influence. It does matter. Local politics matters. Local businesses matter, and understanding what that direct-to-consumer marketing is about is extremely important for feeling like you every single day wake up and have some success in your life as it relates to whatever it is that your passion or persistent persistent pursuit of the change, whatever it is that is important to you. So anyways, that's kind of a quick wrap up of why it's so important to really do more educational outreach as to what this is about, particularly in the part of the country that I'm in. In the state that we're in, we are very behind with this particular type of thing, which is interesting because we are a very agricultural based state. And so we have a big hand in the forward movement of this entire country as it relates to food and agriculture. And then also the part of the country I'm in is really what would be considered by the USDA a food desert, meaning we just don't have access to healthy, fresh ingredients. Really, I started the entire farmers market movement and local food sourcing movement in my community because I personally didn't have access, and my family and my children didn't have access to the food that I thought was valuable and important, and that I would end up having to move in order to have that available for us. And I'm from the community that I live in. I'm from here. My family's from here. We are deeply embedded in the roots of this entire region, and for the most part, I was asked to not leave because if we all keep leaving, it will never change. And so that's what I'm out here doing today, and I'm literally cutting basil from my backyard to take over to a chef friend of mine who's going to be doing this lunch and learn today. He's got 4 dishes that are reasonably priced, and then I'll be there doing a pretty informal talk about what is a farmer's market about and answering questions and all of that. And I'm really looking forward to it because, wow, I have created a path and a career and a job for myself that is my love, and it is what I am about, and it makes it a whole lot easier to get up every morning on a Monday morning at 6 a.m., which is a little nicer because of the daylight saving time. Our bodies think it's 7 a.m., so that's kind of fun, right? Wake myself up an hour earlier now. All right, well, be well, and I'm sure I'll do some more gardening today, but this is my gardening video for the day, and I will show you that one thing is about cutting basil. It's good to know is to cut the in-between spot. So this is what you would call a sucker. So it's okay to go ahead and cut this little, but then where you've got a 2 split like that, a bi split, that's where you would cut. So I'm going to cut right there. See? Shove that in there. And then, yes, these little suckers, it's okay to snip those off as well. But I've got tons of basil out here, and really basil wasn't even planted for production. It was planted for companion planting, and it was planted for just keeping some of the pests off of the tomato plants and stuff like that. So lots to know about gardening. That's why it's fun to have a lot of friends in a community that gardens together. So be well. See you soon.